why? It's not that people aren't hurting anybody. Why can't they be who they are? It doesn't make any sense when you think about it. It's just we hold on to these judgments of how things are supposed to be. But, we're all on individual journeys, and individually we can find what is important to us individually, and as we do, we find other people who have the same priorities. But you have to be specific about your priorities. You have to ask yourself, what is it you want to have in your life? You want to know what kind of people do you want to have in your life? And people come to me, there's a chapter in here about romance, and when people come to me and say they want to find their soulmate, I tell them to sit down and write down on a piece of paper the qualities they want this person to have. And after they write the qualities down, they want them to be considerate, they want them to be respectful of their careers, they want them to be kind to children. So I say, okay, so sometimes you have a list of, 30 things they want a person to be. And I said, okay, take each quality one at a time and start to be that person, because that's the only way you're going to attract that kind of energy back into your life. You have to be the person you want to attract back to you. And if you aren't that person, then that person is off finding someone who is like, does have those qualities. You cannot say you want something if you cannot live it yourself. It isn't going to be compatible with your energy. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about romance, or if you're talking about a career, if you're talking about a gift you have. You have to use whatever you have in a way that you want other people to use their gifts or their careers, because that's how you get it. You get it by being the person you want to get back. And there is no other way. I mean, I complained about all the things that were wrong and all the people who had disapproved of me, and so I attracted people back who disapproved of me. And so what I needed to say, or what I needed to grow into, was just to be able to say, they don't agree with me, but so what? They don't have to agree with me. They have their opinions, and they're entitled to their opinions, and I have mine, and I'm entitled to mine. And as soon as I gave myself that kind of self-love, that I accepted myself for who I was, then I attracted people into my life who were also accepting themselves as they were. So it isn't about trying to change other people, because really you can't do it anyway. So you try to do something that's impossible to do and not desirable to do. And gives yourself a lot of heartache in the process. Give yourself a lot of heartache, like, oh, if I'd only done this, they would have been different. That's not true. They are who they are and who they're meant to be. You just have to release them to live their lives the way they see fit. I mean, when I say things like that, the first argument I get is, but what about, people who are out there killing people? Well, just because there's a killer and there's a victim doesn't mean that either of them is not where they're supposed to be, or either of them is not where their soul knows they need to be for overall growth. We just don't know these things, and to try to figure them out is a hopeless game of, things should be different. And things should not be different. You only have to make sure that you're living the kind of life you want to get back, and to trust that the souls in others are wise, and that that their souls know where they need to be, when they need to be there. I mean, you take this earthquake that just happened, and some people lived and some people didn't. And so you wonder why, but we don't have to know why. The soul knows why of each of those people, and that we have to trust that that's true, because we want to trust our own soul. And so we trust that other people and other souls are wise for their journeys, so that we can trust that our journey is wise for us.
What it takes to live your full potential, what you should do?
I didn't understand the question. What did you say?
What you should do to feel to live your full potential?
To be your full potential is to love who you are. Love who you are at every stage of your life. That's to live to your full potential. I mean, we're all here just to find love. I mean, what else could we be here for? The whole earth was created through love. The whole universe was created through love. We were created through love. So what else could we be looking for but appreciating and loving our life, and loving and appreciating other people's lives? I think it's the bottom line, no matter what. Remember that saying from the Course in Miracles, whatever the question, love is the answer?
Absolutely. And I think it's lack of love that creates all these problems we are having around.
Yes, but we can't change other people. You just have to live the love you believe in, and you can't do more than that. That is the most you can do.
Yeah.
You can't change other people, and it isn't your job to change other people. It's your job to demonstrate the person you wish others would be.
Yeah, and we can balance family duties, everything what we do at home, and we have to learn actually to balance our life, to spend enough time doing things we love, and I think there is enough time if we put some effort into doing things like this, and to help others at the same time, and to be happy by doing the things we love to do and go to work and make money and pay our bills. We can do all of these things together. We have to see possibilities of doing all these things together.
Well, yes, but you just need to do it. You can't make the whole world work the way you want it to work. It just doesn't. I mean, it isn't like that. You do for yourself, and you live the kind of life that you wish others would live. That's really, I think that anything other than that, if you think that you have to, I mean, people go and work. They work for causes, and they work for causes because it's important to them to feel they're giving and that they're contributing and they're doing what they need to do, and that's wonderful. But it isn't about going around and telling people you have to know this and you have to know that, or you have to learn this or you have to learn that. People learn what they need to learn when they need to learn it.
But do you think if people are educate themselves, like, for example, if they buy your book and learn about all this information, like how the energy works, how complaining doesn't help them, but does the opposite? Because a lot of people don't know this. And I meet these kind of people, and they don't believe in energy, they don't believe in this information, or they never heard about something like this.
Well, then it's wonderful to introduce the ideas, but what they do with the ideas is up to them. You know, you can only introduce an idea and say that it's helped you, and then they can try it or not try it. But, you know, whether they follow through or not is up to them, not up to you or me. I mean, I'm really one of these people who believes that that you teach by being the person you want to be. I don't think any other teaching is really effective. I really don't. I mean, I share the ideas that I believe in, and I guess some people believe it, some people don't. But when I've gone through my life and with these ideas, and it really hasn't. You know, when I first heard the ideas, I thought they were so wonderful and they were changing my life, and I felt like I had to go out and tell everybody about, you know, what I believed in. And you know what I attracted back? I attracted back people who were patronizing me. Patronizing me as if I didn't know what I was doing or I didn't know what to think, and I had all the wrong ideas. And so I realized that I was getting back exactly what I was giving out. I was acting like I knew all the answers and nobody else had the answers that mattered. And so then a lot of people came back in my life who treated me that way. And so it isn't about going out there and trying to change people's viewpoints about anything, because they have the viewpoints they need at this time of their history, their emotional history, and they're where they need to be, and they're no less wise than anyone else. They're living the life that is wise for them. And so I've come to believe that I can only live as the person that I wish others would be. And if they like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. So what? I'm still living the life that I want to live. I'm still creating for myself what I want to have in my life by what I give to others and what I do. And that's the way it's going to be. And people who have like energy find each other, and whether they have like energy because they are a loving person, or whether they have like energy because they're a cruel person. And they have their lessons, and they're learning just as, you know, every person has, you know, we're all equal in this, because the universe is returning to us whatever we put out. We're all equal. Nobody is wiser or less wise in terms of how the universe works. If you try it and see if it works for you. If it works for you, then you know you're going to keep doing it. Because when you start giving love, and love starts coming back, and you say, "Wow, that works," so that you aren't about to go back to the old way.
That's true. Yeah, completely. I completely agree with you, definitely. And is it possible to give love and in return to never get love back?
Well, it may not come back from the person you gave it to, but it comes back. You just have to be open to it coming back, not necessarily from the person who wasn't kind to you. I mean, you don't, if you give to a person and you expect them to give back to you, then you aren't giving from the spirit of just giving. You're giving with expectations. Don't give with expectations. Expectations are awful, because I've lived with that too, of people giving to me with the expectation of me doing something back for them. You give just because you want to receive love, because you want to receive the love you're giving, but don't be closed to where that love is going to come from. It may come from a completely unknown source that you never expected it to come from, but don't expect it to come back from the person that you're doing something for. Because you really aren't giving in the spirit of giving. You're giving with expectations of what you're supposed to get back. And that's probably something that people in romantic relationships need to look at. Are you giving because from the sheer joy of giving, or are you giving with expectations of what you're supposed to get back? People give the way they're able to give. Not everybody can give the same way. Not everybody wants to give the same way. They want to give their own way.
Yeah, love should be unconditional and no expectations attached to it. Nothing. You just be in love, and that's it. You don't accept. You don't expect from the other person anything. And like you said,
yes, and also romantic relationships are a reflection too. There's the old myth that opposites attract. Maybe opposites attract in terms of physical appearance, but they don't. Opposites do not attract instead of emotional energy. Emotional energy attracts like emotional energy. So the two of you are together for a reason. And if you don't notice why you're together, and if you're in a relationship and you're unhappy and you don't understand why you drew that into your life, you recreate it again with another person, the same situation. And I speak from personal experience. It's only after you have recognized, how this person is like you, that you can do something different, that you can change yourself. That's the way we learn, by realizing that the people with us are an emotional reflection to help us. And so I can look at it now that they were the gift I needed at the time they were in my life.
Yeah. We have past lives, and we meet in this life with the same person, and we can probably spend half of our life together with this person for a reason, and then we have to move on because we fulfilled, actually.
Because why?
The reason why because we fulfilled, actually, the reason why we met together in this lifetime to finish business from past lives. This happens sometimes.
Yes, it happens that people move on because they no longer have that mirror. And it's possible that they move on to someone with the exact mirror if they haven't looked at who they are in the past relationship. They haven't looked for how the person they were with was mirroring something in them. If you go forward looking for a relationship and you're very needy, you find another person who's very needy in some way. And until you look at that in yourself, that you have this neediness, that you're trying to get something from the other person that you really need to get from yourself, you go on to another relationship, and it's the same relationship all over again. The person looks different, the person has a different name, but it's the same relationship.
That's true. You have to learn to love yourself first, to enjoy your company being by yourself. To love the time spending by yourself.
You have to understand why people are in your life, and why, especially when they make you think, when you have an uncomfortable feeling about them, or they make you feel uncomfortable. Then you have to really look at why, what it is uncomfortable about and how it makes you feel. If you're with somebody who's making you feel uncomfortable, ask yourself, how are you feeling uncomfortable? Well, maybe you're feeling pressured to do something you don't want to do, or maybe you're feeling taken advantage of. Okay, so then you have to ask yourself, how am I pressuring other people to do what they don't want to do, and how am I what was the other thing I said? I lost my train of thought. It's the same thing. You have to ask yourself how you're doing exactly what you're upset about the other person doing to you, because that's the only way that you can have somebody in your life who is more considerate, or who is more doesn't pressure, who accepts. You have to accept other people instead of pressuring them.